VG247 put out an article discussing Battlefield 5 and diversity in gaming, and there's a lot of very interesting statements here that made me laugh because they're so inaccurate when it comes to females in gaming. But more than just that issue, there's a lot of statements here that were really inaccurate in general. And I always like to say I don't represent the whole female in gaming community, but I like to talk about my own thoughts and my personal matters on these type of topics. I'm not going to cover the whole article here because there are some aspects that just really stood out to me than others, and those are the parts that I am going to cover. And really quickly before we get into the topic, I wanted to thank you all for such a great start to 2019 and the support that the channel has really gotten. And remember, I'm not monetized by YouTube, so if you really want to help support the channel, links are in the description, and feel free to join the Dark Titans Discord as well. You're in for a good one, so let's just start with the first pop of a statement. Interactive entertainment is getting increasingly complex, and the goals of their creators are more varied than ever. Simply being fun often isn't enough. Game being fun is all anyone should care about. Games fulfill experiences that real life may not provide you. No one plays a game that simulates a 9-to-5 job and takes 20-minute breaks twice a day, because that wouldn't be fun. It wouldn't be a memorable experience. Even more than just fun, memorable experiences are really what make games good. Developer decisions in recent times have been causing the whole varied nature in the community as of recently, and I understand that there are people with different opinions. Everyone has different opinions, but I'm pretty sure majority of people would get along if it was a good, fun experience and not one where it was rushed and had a hidden narrative. Which the writer does go on to say, while we sometimes play games for the pure joy of interacting with something on a screen, we also want to be transported to another place. We want to visit new worlds, and we want to step into the shoes of someone we can never be. To wear a different mask, even for a little while, there's no limit to what video games can take us. Despite this hunger for more diversity within our stories and experiences, there are still people who push back, pinning for those days where gameplay was king. What does that word even mean? For me, gameplay means all interactive parts, the running, jumping, driving, and shooting. It means the verbs. There is a hunger, but from what I've seen, it's not just a diversity-based issue. It's an issue that a game should be a game. It shouldn't be changed drastically to fit a specific gender into it. It should feel natural and just be a game that is full and accurate to the story you want to tell, you as in whoever's writing it. And if it's like Battlefield, where it's based off of a real setting and a real time, but you're changing major details of historical accuracy, you need to say that in a right way, because Battlefield 5, one of the problems was it wasn't explained properly. They said it was a historically accurate game, and then we saw females. We got upset because you changed what you said about the game, and said, well, it is a game, I mean, it isn't 100% historically accurate. We want to know for sure the product that we're purchasing, and if you were honest about it, it probably would have sold better. Now, I'm not saying it would have sold great, but it would have probably sold better. Not every setting needs to be diverse, and sometimes, yes, there are times where you can make a cast of characters more diverse. Go for it. I mean, I'm not going to say don't. But that doesn't always need to be the case, and it shouldn't always be the case, because then you ruin game franchises and you ruin an audience that is interested in your game. Now, this is the main topic that I wanted to touch on because I read this and so many thoughts flooded me. Recently, Battlefield 5 came under criticism for some circles for its inclusion of female soldiers. While people are fine with gameplay mechanics that contradicts its historical setting, respawning, killing helmet-clad soldiers with a single headbutt, there's been criticism on the inclusion of women. Why? Because for some, there's no tangible gameplay benefit. According to those people, the women break the illusion more than the enemy magically spawning on a squad mate. To them, women are a pointless addition, and spawning on a squad mate just increases the tempo of combat and is there to support the gameplay. The thing is, if something exists in a game, it exists for the players. Now here's the statement that really got me. Women want to feel represented in their hobby. It gives them more enjoyment than playing as a man. For a lot of men, playing as a woman gives them a break from the norm, in which we've come to accept as a white man as our default protagonist. Women in this game break the illusion because you said it was a historically accurate game before release, and then when the cover art was shown, it wasn't accurate to how accurate you said it was. Then the story changed and you said, well, of course we wanted to add diversity. All that was wanted was to follow a trend of making everything as female-friendly as possible, which honestly doesn't sell games to a lot of females. Most of us know not every game is specifically designed with us in mind, and I as a person respect that, because that's what I want in a game, is an experience that I can't experience in real life. That's why I play video games. The question I personally raise is, do women really feel like they're not represented? In the past 2 years or so, I've personally felt drowned in female representation in gaming culture personally. I would prefer for a game to just be a game. If there's a female protagonist or not, I don't need to wonder what's hidden in the meaning, and sometimes we see games that have little to no females, and that's because you have to think about realism. Let's take Battlefield, for example. How many female soldiers were there in World War II? I think you know the answer to that. Don't force a specific gender into a spot if it's not needed. Go with what the design choice was. Go with what feels right when it comes to the game. Don't sacrifice the game to please just a couple people, just a few people, because there's always going to be someone that dislikes your choices. That's just how the world works when everyone has an equal opinion. I personally prefer playing as a man most of the time because I don't play video games to have a real-life experience. I obviously can't experience what it's like climbing up a mountain as a man, so I would prefer to experience something I can't truly experience. I mean, in real life, I've never even climbed up a mountain either as a female, but still, I really don't like playing as a female in most games, unless it's something like an MMO where gender doesn't really matter and it's more of a class-based system, then I'll just choose whatever has the best cosmetic assortment. I feel like there's a lot of assumptions here, the assumption that it gives them more enjoyment to play as a man. I don't like those assumptions because that is inaccurate, at least to me, and I know a lot of other females as well. We don't care if we're playing as a man or a woman, we just care that it is a full game, it is a good experience, and there's no hidden narrative behind all of these problems and behind what you're trying to make. I don't want hidden narratives in my games. I am happy to play as a man. I don't care if I don't see a female protagonist for 10 years in gaming, as long as it is accurate to the story that you are trying to tell. But those are my thoughts and opinions on this article. It was a very interesting article, and I will link it down below. I just feel like there was a lot of assumptions towards females in gaming in this article that I personally didn't like, and there was a lot of really inaccurate parts about this whole article in general. But if you like this video, make sure to give it a like, and of course if you didn't, make sure to give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either which way, but I hope that you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll talk to you guys again really soon.